AITA for banning my SIL from my house over tomato sauce? I, 28F, have an older brother, 32M. He is married to SIL, 33F. I get along with her well, except for this one point. If you don't keep an eye on her, she will get into the kitchen and add seasonings to whatever is cooking. She thinks she is fixing stuff, but not all foods need turmeric in it. This Saturday, I received 40 pounds of tomatoes. It took me the whole weekend to turn it into a sauce that I was planning to can. I can it plain, then add whatever seasonings and herbs it needs, depending on the recipe. They came to take a bag of spare clothes for one of their kids. And in the 5 minutes it took me to get it, she managed to get into the kitchen, add salt, pepper, turmeric, olive oil, garlic powder and Italian herbs to all 5 of the pots that were simmering on the stove. And when I asked her what she was doing, she had the audacity to say, "This sauce needed some taste. I added it for you." Like I've never told her to not touch what I was cooking before. I was so angry that I knew I couldn't be calm talking with her. So I simply walked to my brother, told him to take the clothes and his wife, and that she is no longer welcome in my house. She had followed me, was shocked, started apologizing, but I just ignored her. I added that he should come by tomorrow to take the sauce his wife ruined, because otherwise it would be thrown away, and that I expected 40 pounds of replacement tomatoes. They left. He came back with the tomatoes, an apology letter from her, and an apology carrot cake. My fave. But I told him that I stand by my decision. Now my parents got involved, since I am the one that usually hosts. And since she is not allowed in my house, I told them to make alternate plans for Memorial Day. My husband says that I am in the right, but my parents say that my reaction is way overblown. So AITA? Edit. Since there seems to be some confusion, I am not planning to host for Memorial Day and invite her. I said I am not hosting. My parents or my brother should host, and I will attend as a guest. I might be Angie, but I don't want her excluded. NTA. I'm so glad you discovered that she ruined a day's work before you canned that mess. Who does that? I don't know that I'd invite her back into my house again either. Who the heck walks into someone else's house and seasons 5 different pots? NTA. If you don't keep an eye on her, she will get into the kitchen and add seasonings to whatever is cooking. She managed to get into the kitchen, add salt, pepper, turmeric, olive oil, garlic powder and Italian herbs to all 5 of the pots that were simmering on the stove. Like WTF? This is so boundary disrespecting. Disrespectful and insulting to what you're cooking. And it wasn't even for her. NTA for being furious. I do think she's learned her lesson though. As someone who made canned tomato sauce from just 20 pounds of tomatoes, it takes forever and is a lot of hard work to get it to the simmer on the stove face. Maybe you have an electric food mill, but I didn't and it got old and tiring to mill those tomatoes. You should have given her an invoice for your time. NTA. I disagree with her, learning her lesson. She obviously has been asked multiple times to stop doing it, and she just continues to ignore boundaries and exert her control. Nope. So NTA. She's crossing boundaries, poking into something where she doesn't belong. There's all kinds of wrong with messing with someone else's cooking. What if you were making something for someone allergic to turmeric? Good on your brother for replacing the tomatoes, and on her for apologizing. That said, you're still in the right for banning her from the house, especially if that has happened multiple times and you have been clear with her that it's not acceptable. If you are thinking about letting her back in, I'd make sure the apology is a real apology first, not, "I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt," but something which takes responsibility for her actions. I added seasoning to your giant tomato sauce project without asking. This was out of line and I shouldn't have done it. It's my fault, and I'm sorry. In the future, I'm planning to not enter your kitchen unless invited. NTA. I won't be hosting her anymore since clearly she doesn't like my cooking. But I'm sure she and brother will be happy to host since she's so eager to demonstrate her skills in the kitchen. NTA. Garlic is alkaline. That would entirely change the processing times to safely can the tomato sauce. She has no idea what she is messing with. The safety of your preserves for the next year. You are entitled to hold to your boundary even after her apology. A cake is a nice gesture, but by no means is it enough to buy your trust back. NTA. It is never okay to add something to someone's food without their consent or knowledge. NTA. It's incredibly entitled and selfish to walk into someone else's kitchen, tamper with their food, and then insult them and their ability to cook by claiming to have made the food better. This feels like it's the first time your SIL has truly faced the consequences of her meddling. Maybe she'll learn her lesson and stop touching other people's things. NTA. Canning is a pain in the butt and you need to follow a recipe to make it safe for canning. Adding random spices and oil? I would have been livid. And if those had been my homegrown tomatoes, that might be an unforgivable offense. 40 pounds of replacement tomatoes doesn't make up for the time blanching, peeling, seeding, and cooking down to a sauce consistency. I also can plain sauce and then add to it when I open it to make a meal. NTA. This is an ongoing problem that is obviously not going to stop until she's no allowed near your food, and that's what you've done. Good for you. NTA. Her complete lack of respect in not respecting your boundaries is only exceeded by her inability to understand why you never so much as touch somebody else's craft or art without their permission, let alone start changing it. If it was me, she'd never be coming back into my house. I wouldn't care how many apologies I got from her, because from my POV I'd figure the only thing she's sorry for is her behavior causing a scene. I'd reckon she doesn't understand why her behavior was wrong in the first place. Just reading that made me mad on your behalf, NTA. NTA. The audacity of SIL. As for the suggestions that you let her back in since it sounds like she learned her lesson, that's up to you. But if you choose to let her back, might take it slow and see how she behaves. Have some low-value stuff on the stove and see what she does with it. If she repeats, she's banned. Alternatively, she's banned now and has to earn your trust and forgiveness before she's allowed back in. NTA. It's your home and you have the right to decide who is and isn't welcome. Your SIL has displayed on numerous occasions that she doesn't respect boundaries. This event was just the 40-pound straw that broke the camel's back. I'm glad they gave you new tomatoes and that she wrote you an apology letter with an apology cake. I also hope she will invite you out to apologize in person. However, I think that you should stick to your guns for Memorial Day. It's easy for people to write pretty things on paper. Let her sit on what she's done and prove, through her visits to other people's homes and their kitchens, if the lesson actually sticks. NTA. I'm a canner too and I'm fuming for you. 40 pounds generally takes me around 68 hours to process and then cook time. This isn't just changing the flavor of a recipe, but making it unsafe to can after hours and hours of labor. It's disrespectful and wasted your time and money. Has she been confronted about this before now? If boundaries haven't been directly and clearly set prior, though, I might have a conversation and Give her a chance to be better. NTA She thinks she knows better and she absolutely doesn't. Is she aware of all party attendees' allergies and intolerances when she comes in playing Nigella? What she's doing is not only tasteless, no pun intended, because literally what kind of know-it-all rolls into someone else's kitchen and adds things, but potentially harmful if she's just adding things willy-nilly. NTA If family members give you grief over hosting, say something like, "Whether I host again is a decision for a later time, and it's not up for discussion. At this time, I am not willing to open my home to a person who has consistently abused their guest privileges." Despite repeated requests, discussions, and warnings to stop, others can take a turn hosting, or we can meet somewhere for family events. My home and my kitchen are closed until further notice. If they push back because of the apology, you can let them know it takes time and consistently trustworthy behavior to repair damaged trust. You're glad she finally understands her behavior was wrong and damaging. It's unfortunate it took a ban for her to apologize, but that's something only she can explain, given that she didn't even apologize until she faced a serious penalty. It's reasonable to need time and evidence that she's changed before you grant her guest privileges. Again, explain it to them like she's 5, because she's acting like it. NTA Your parents can't stand her in their house either. Why can't Bro and SIL host? Would be fitting. Then you can ruin her cooking instead. NTA If you decide to allow her back, get baby gates for your kitchen. Put signs on the gates with a picture of your SIL in a red circle with a line drawn through her and put them up when she visits. This is probably too much, but I'd love to see her face when she sees it. ETA If you allow her back, buy a hidden nanny cam for your kitchen so when she inevitably can't help herself, you'll have proof to send your family when they berate you for making the ban permanent. She's also doing this with no idea if anyone has any allergies or sensitivities to whatever she decides to add. She could, literally, kill someone.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.